Hello everyone, today I'm going to recap a South Korean comedy drama film called Miracle in Cell No. 7, release in year 2013. If you are new to this channel, please do not forget to like, share and subscribe. In the beginning we are shown Ye-sung, who is 6 years old girl living with her mentally ill father, Yong-gu. Outside a shop, the father-daughter duo is seen repeating the steps of a Sailor Moon animated advertisement. Ye-sung requests her father to purchase the Sailor Moon backpack for her. Yong-gu tells her that once he gets paid salary he will purchase the bag for her. However, another buyer purchases the final bag available in the shop before them. When Yong-gu rushes in to grab the backpack, he is assaulted by the police commissioner and kicked out of the store. After the incident, the two return home without the bag, slightly battered, but in high spirits. In the following scene, we witness Ye-sung taking command and parenting her father as best she can. As a 6-year-old girl, they have a specific goodbye ritual in which Ye-sung counts to 3, and Yong-gu turns around for them both to make their most silliest faces. The commissioner's daughter finds Yong-gu the next day in front of same shop and attempts to show him another store that sells the same backpack. She instructs Yong-gu to accompany her to the store. However, the small girl stumbles while running on the icy pavement, and a brick lands on her head. Yong-gu spots the unconscious girl and immediately tries to perform CPR on her. He also pulls down her trousers for proper blood circulation. However, a bystander witnesses all this and mistakenly takes it as an act of sexual assault. Yong-gu is then arrested by the police on charges of rape and murder. Yong-gu is next seen at a police station where detectives are attempting to question him about the event. However, he is constantly claiming that his daughter, Ye-sung, is waiting for him alone at home. When he tries to return to his house, he is attacked by police officers who are photographed by the media. The officers then make a false claim that Yong-gu attacked them first. The next morning, Ye-sung leaves the house to look for her father. Yong-gu is also transported to the same location where the event occurred. For a site check there, the officers make him do a false reenactment in exchange for meeting his daughter. His actions are interpreted by police officers as rape and murder of a minor. When Ye-sung sees her father being carried away by cops, she runs over to him. However, one of the police officers grabs her and they are unable to meet with one another. Yong-gu is then transported to prison, where he is placed in cell number 7 with 5 other convicts. All of them dislike him for his falsely accused crime and mental disability and start beating him up. However, they soon become very touched after finding out that he is going to be executed soon. In the prison there is another gang which is planning to attack the prison leader Yang-ho. One day Yong-gu notices the opposition gang ready to attack Yang-ho and runs to protect him. He manages to save Yang-ho from being stabbed. Hence Yang-ho offers to help Yong-gu in any way he can to return the favor. Yong-gu tells Yang-ho that he wants to see his daughter Ye-sung. In the next scene, we can see a church's choir band singing the choirs for the inmates. In the choir Ye-sung is also seen dancing and playing an instrument. The warden is taken aback to see the kids in the prison choir, but before he can learn more, he receives a call from the minister and is forced to leave the event. Sensing the opportunity, the inmates takes Ye-sung from the stage and places her in a box before transporting her to the prison to see her father. The inmates are successful in bringing Ye-sung into the jail and reconciling her with her father. The father-daughter duo finally meets and they embrace each other. Meanwhile, Yong-gu keeps on saying to his daughter that he is not a bad person. Next, the little girl is introduced to her father's cellmates and then it's time for her to return. However, Ye-sung does not want to return home and rather wishes to remain in prison with her father. She also claims that she is an expert at hiding. On the other hand, inmates manages to calm her down and confine her to a box in order to return to the choir's bus. But before she can get there the bus leaves the prison gates forcing inmates to keep Ye-sung overnight. Inside the jail, the other inmates are concerned that if they are caught, their sentences would be extended. One day, while performing the cleaning duties, they devise a plan to transport the girl outside the prison. When another group arrives to perform one day, the warden receives the photos from the choir event and discovers one of the children missing. To find the missing girl, he sends his men to examine all the jail chambers. Everyone in cell number 7 is frightened and start brainstorming a plan to hide Ye-sung. Despite their best efforts, the young girl is discovered by the warden and brought to the orphanage center. Yong-gu is confined in a separate room as a punishment. The same night, one of the inmates sets a fire in a cell, pleading with the guards to let him meet his father. He pays no attention to anyone and continues to pour gasoline on the flames. The chief warden approaches him and attempts to stop him, but finds himself locked inside a burning chamber. All the other inmates have been released on his way out. Yong-gu sees the chief warden caught on the flames. Seeing him in his condition, Yong-gu endangers himself and rushes to save him. In the next scene, the chief warden wakes up in a hospital room where he is told by the doctor that Yong-gu risked his life to save him. The chief warden looks over to Yong-gu, who is hurt and lying next to him. The warden realizes that Yong-gu is not the assailant of the girl. Meanwhile, Ye-sung meets her choir instructor and convinces her to take her to meet her father. The kind choir instructor accepts her request and drives her to the prison. As the father and daughter duo reunite again, the warden is keeping a close eye on them. Later that night, the warden starts to dig into Yong-gu's case. He starts to suspect that Yong-gu is innocent and that his case is fabricated. Later, the warden pays a visit to the investigation office and speaks with one of his colleagues about Yong-gu's case. The colleague informs him that the case was of a police commissioner's daughter and they had to rush to make a verdict. After looking into the case file, the warden also finds out that Yong-gu's testimony is falsified. Seeing the injustice that Yong-gu has been through, the warden lets Ye-sung visit Yong-gu every day after school. There she becomes attached to all the cellmates, she even teaches them to write. When Bong-shik expresses his disappointment at not being able to communicate with his pregnant wife, Ye-sung lends him a mobile phone that she took from one of her friends. The next morning, one of the warden rushes towards Yong-gu, informing him that his trial is nearing. After hearing this, all his inmates resolve to prepare him for the trial and establish his innocence in the court. They want an explanation from Yong-gu on the entire incident. Yong-gu claims that he was just following the young girl and suddenly he saw her on the floor bleeding from her head. The cellmates are perplexed as to how somebody might die from falling while running. They recreate the entire situation and conclude that the girl died after slipping on the icy floor and being struck in the head by a brick. Before the trial, Yong-gu is instructed by his inmates on how to respond to the prosecution's potential questions, and he diligently practices and becomes excellent in answering the questions presented by his roommates. The inmates remind Yong-gu to rehearse the answers to the prospective inquiries everywhere he goes. Meanwhile, a national lawyer visits Yong-gu in prison and threatens him to confess about the killing. He goes on to say that the police commissioner is a powerful man who may ruin his daughter's life if he refuses to confess. To show Yong-gu's innocence, Ye-sung, the jail warden and the prisoners of Room 7 all attend Dee's trial. Unfortunately, the commissioner visits Yong-gu before the trial, where he brutally assaults him while threatening to kill his daughter unless he confesses. To protect his daughter, Yong-gu makes the ultimate sacrifice by claiming that he killed the commissioner's daughter. On December 23, Yong-gu is condemned to death, which also happens to be Ye-sung's birthday. The inmates, feeling sorry for Yong-gu, decide to build a hot air balloon for Yong-gu to escape execution. During a prison function, Yong-gu and Ye-sung are sent on the hot air balloon and they all try to stop the guards from arresting Yong-gu, but the balloon's line is caught up by barbed wire. Instead of being sad, they use this moment to feel the setting sun for one last time together. On the day of Yong-gu's execution, the inmates and Yong-gu celebrate Ye-sung's birthday before he is executed. Everyone gives the little girl a lovely gift, and Yong-gu surprises her with the yellow Sailor Moon backpack that she always wanted. Overjoyed with the gift, Ye-sung bows down and thanks Yong-gu for being her father. However, the celebrations are soon cut short as the executor calls Yong-gu. The cellmates are devastated, but they hide their tears and lie to Ye-sung that their father is being transported to a different cell before being escorted away. Yong-gu hugs his daughter and starts crying. His daughter also starts crying along with him. Yong-gu pleads with the guards that he doesn't want to be separated from his daughter, but they are powerless to help him. After a while, Yong-gu is executed because of the false accusations. In court 16 years later, an adult Ye-sung, who is now adopted by the warden, studies hard to become a lawyer and appeals for the case. With the help of the inmates' testimony and public support, Yong-gu is found to be innocent and his name is cleared. In the closing scene, Ye-sung has a vision of her younger self and her father flying away on the balloon into the sky, as if he is better off to a better place in heaven. Thanks for watching video until the end. If you like the recap, please subscribe for more.